Hello and welcome to another episode of the Good Boxing Podcast with your host Josh Size, and I'm gonna jump right in this episode. All right, I'm here. It's finally time. This Saturday we have Terence Bud Crawford versus Shawn Porter in a very, and I mean very good welterweight fight at 147 pounds. Shawn Porter has been in with the best of the best. He's been in with Danny Garcia. He's been in with Errol the Truth Spence. He's been in with Keith One Time Thurman. Anybody at 147 pounds that's a prominent name most likely has shared the ring with Shawn Porter. Then you have the undeniably talented Terence Crawford, who has dominated every single division he's entered. However, at 147, you've seen the skills, but he has not had the test yet, in my opinion, at 147 pounds. Everyone knows that the fight we want to see, and we have asked to see for several years now, is Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. But sometimes, as you know, in boxing, you have different sides of the street. You have different promoters, different issues here and there, A side, B sides. You already know the deal, all the politics and whatnot that go into boxing. But at least we're kind of taking a step in the right direction where Terence Crawford and Errol Spence finally will have a common opponent that is prominent. I'm not talking about Kell Brook, who Terence Crawford recently fought. That was his last opponent, and he disposed of Kell Brook. But Kell Brook, as you know, was damaged goods. He was no longer the same Kell Brook that Errol fought many eons ago. Now, Shawn Porter is without a doubt the toughest test at 147 pounds for Terence Crawford. But I'm going to give you my reasoning as to why the person I'm going to pick is going to win the fight. I unfortunately, more often than not, get a rep for picking the underdog here and there and picking fighters that you don't think are going to win. But I'm not here to give you a cookie cutter answer. If you were following my YouTube boxing channel for some general BS of, oh, Terence Crawford's just a better fighter, I can't see Shawn Porter giving him issues. You're wrong. I'm not going to give you that. However, in this fight, I'm going to tell you honestly who I think is going to win. And unfortunately, this weekend, I'm not going to make this some prolonged, very detailed video on why I think so, but I'm going to give you the basic reasons why. Terence Crawford is going to coronate himself as one of the top welterweights in the division. I kept looking at fights previously to see how Shawn Porter could potentially win this fight, and I just don't see it. I feel like Terence Crawford's going to do what he does, come out righty, feel what's going on with Shawn Porter, get his timing. And I think Shawn Porter, believe it or not, as I said in another video before, I don't think he's going to just be all on pressure against Terence Crawford. I think he's going to box a lot more than people are thinking. And I think he has some pretty good boxing ability. And when he does finally take the charge inside, which he will have to, because I can't see Shawn Porter beating Terence Crawford in a boxing match. Straight up, I'm sorry, Terence Crawford's too good. He's a complete package, has a good jab, has a good hook, has a good body. He has good body attack. He can fight on the inside. He can go lefty. He can move. He could stand his ground. There are no holes in Terence Crawford's game. The only wrinkle that maybe Shawn Porter can potentially exploit is he has the propensity to get hit from time to time, but he has also shown that he has a tremendous chin. Yes, Aegis Velasquez caught him with a shot, but I feel like in that fight, Terence Crawford really didn't show up for it. He knew he was going to beat Aegis, and Aegis caught him coming in and trying to bang a little more, which to me is Terence Crawford's only Achilles heel, is he could be drawn into a firefight. But in this fight, I'm telling you, Terence Crawford is looking for blood, and I think Shawn Porter hasn't addressed the fact that he is a sucker for a left hook. Adrian Broner dropped him with a left hook. Danny Garcia hurt him several times with the left hook. You also have Errol Spence, who dropped Shawn Porter with a left hook. He shifted from lefty to righty, swept that hook, and dropped him for basically the end of the fight in the deal breaker, the straw that broke the camel's back. So my prediction is Terence Crawford is going to knock out Shawn Porter. I think it's not going to be a very close fight. I am excited for it, but I think Shawn Porter will be competitive for a few rounds, maybe the first 3 or 4, but then Terence Crawford's going to end up knocking out Shawn Porter. I feel like Shawn Porter takes unnecessary risks sometimes. And in this fight, Terence Crawford's going to bang a lot more than you're used to seeing him. And I think he's going to knock him down and potentially stop Shawn Porter either with the uppercut or a hook, that left hook. He's still a sucker for it. So that's my prediction. I'm going to leave it at that. Terence Crawford's going to coronate himself as solidly the number 2 fighter in the world. I actually, you know what? I have to put him 3 because Canelo's number 1. You got Usyk, who you have to elevate to number 2, and then Terence Crawford, who is solidly number 3. However, sometimes I keep finding myself going back and forth, and I'm actually making a video about the pound for pound rankings and why I feel like Terence Crawford's getting severely disrespected, even though he's accomplished what Usyk and Canelo have already, but they seem to have forgotten. But at the same time, I understand the activity, etc. But that's another video. So I expect Terence Crawford to devastatingly knock out Shawn Porter. If it doesn't happen, I don't see Shawn Porter winning this fight. But that's my prediction. I got Crawford via stoppage. I think Shawn Porter is a tremendous fighter. I don't want to disrespect him. He only fights the best. But Terence Crawford's different. I know he's familiar with him, but Terence Crawford is out there to prove something. And the last time he was out there to prove something was against Victor Postal for the Undisputed Championship. And you saw how that went. You saw how he knocked out Kell Brook. You've seen him knock out all of these guys when they push Bud into the corner and it's time for him to show up. He has not yet fallen short one time, and I do not expect that. I don't expect anything other than Terence Crawford destroying Shawn Porter. So that's my prediction. I hope you have a good day. Smash that like button. Follow on Instagram at Good Boxing Podcast. Follow, subscribe. You guys know the deal. I'll be back with some more good content. Be well.